Hey there. My name is Charisma. I'm a veterinary student and a lifelong animal lover, and someone who has spent years walking alongside animals at every stage of their lives, from tiny foster kittens during their midnight feedings to ER animal patients in their final moments. I've held newborn fur babies in the palms of my hands and comforted seniors as they slipped away. But nothing quite prepared me for this kind of a loss. Um, I've been holding on to this pain for a while, unsure if I was ready to speak about it. Because grief has grief has a way of silencing us, of making words too heavy to say. But I want to share this experience, not just the loss, but the love, the heartbreak, and the lessons that it's brought me. Now, this is for anyone who has felt the same weight. I just want you to know that you're not alone. A few months back, I lost my perfect, beautiful queen of my fur creatures, my Nora. And yes, I said months. It has taken me months to build up the courage to speak about this without breaking down. And I'm still not 100% there. So please bear with me. But Nora came into my life when I needed her most. She and her sister Ellie were tiny bottle babies, fragile, innocent, full of life, who I fostered after losing another beloved feline companion. My heart was so broken, and I thought that caring for them might mend my soul, even just a little bit. But Nora did so much more than that. She wove herself into my heart, bringing a love that was so pure that it was impossible to let go. Between her and her sister, I fell for the both of them, and I decided to make them mine forever. Foster fails, totally. Over the past 5 years, Nora was a quiet healer. She was a daily reminder that love has the power to rebuild even the most shattered pieces of us. So when she left me a few months ago, it felt like history repeating itself. Another strand of my heartstrings severed far too soon, and losing her broke me all over again. It was tragic, terrible, and there are no words big enough to describe the emptiness that her absence left behind. Now, to offer some clarity, she suffocated inside her food bin. I used to have a large bin that was big enough to hold large bags of cat food that I preferred to purchase. It was the type of bin with a lid that snaps shut. She made her way inside, and somehow the lid got latched. Perhaps one of my other cats jumped on top. Perhaps one of the other cats pawed at it and just happened to latch it. Unfortunately, I will never know. Needless to say, the bin got trashed, and I now only feed my cats canned food. I am wounded regarding bagged or binned food, and I may or may not heal past this. Only time will tell. But now I must choose to carry Nora's memory forward, and she was proof that love, even born in the moments of loss, can save us. So I hope that her story can be a light to others, for those who feel lost or broken and unsure of how to move forward. I hope that she can remind me and others that while there is loss that changes us, love stays. It carries us, it heals us, even when it hurts. And, you know, it's okay to hurt. Grief is not a path that we choose. It's one that we're forced to walk when we lose those that we love. And again, it's okay to hurt. It's okay to miss them so much that it feels like the world has stopped turning. It's okay to feel like you will never be right again, because loss changes us. It breaks us in ways that we never imagined. And healing doesn't mean that we go back to who we were before. Sometimes we carry the cracks with us forever, and that's okay too. I feel like it means that the love that we share was real. So it's important to give yourself permission to feel it all, the pain, the longing, the memories, and know that even in your brokenness, you're not alone. You don't have to be okay today, tomorrow, or even next year. You just have to keep going, one breath, one moment at a time. Again, it's okay to hurt. It's okay to not be the same, because love leaves a mark that loss cannot erase. And because I know that there are others out there that have experienced this, I feel like these are helpful accounts to share, helpful memories to share. You know, hopefully to offer some solidarity to others out there, that they aren't the only one that was destroyed over a pet's death. When you choose to share your life with a companion, you allow the strings of their soul to intertwine with yours. And you're blessed with this glorious love and companionship that comes with sharing your life together. However, when you commit to this binding of your metaphorical heartstrings, you also take on the burden of pain that comes with losing them. You must accept that you will likely outlive them, and their loss could potentially level you from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. Now, I know in the field that I've chosen to spend my life in, the veterinary field, especially with my focus being in emergency, I will be faced with death constantly and consistently. In this line of work, there's tragic death and euthanasia. And you see, there's a beauty that comes with the offering of euthanasia. You have the opportunity to relieve their soul from the pain that their aging or ill vessel might be causing them. You have the opportunity to say goodbye, to see their soul off as it travels to the other side. You know, but with tragic death, one where their soul may not have had the opportunity, you may not have had the opportunity to be present while their spirit departs their vessel. I believe that you miss the opportunity to release their soul properly. You know, the blow of a tragic death can leave their soul and yours in the state of limbo. You get stuck with this weight, this heaviness of an unsaid farewell. And I believe that it's crucial to see their soul off, to say everything that needs to be said, to express the gratitude for their love, for being there when you needed them most, for their constant and beautiful flow of companionship. And over the years and a few tragic deaths later, I have discovered what works for me when it comes to my moment of farewell to a companion soul that I've lost tragically. It's it's a necessary routine that gives my soul peace. And my goal here is to share my method of farewell for those who may have lost a companion tragically. And in this moment, whether it be days or weeks after their death, I have to set myself up with an opportunity for loneliness. This experience requires undivided attention and focus. It requires me securing time by myself. I find a spot that's quiet and likely to not have any visitors for a necessary amount of time. So for my first tragic loss, this was in my living room after everyone had fallen asleep. I was downstairs all alone. For my second tragic loss, the most recent, Nora, this experience took place in my workshop. I was sitting on the ground. Both times I had headphones on, sad music blasting, a glass of my favorite Merkin Vineyards wine nearby, the kind that I only used for a special occasion. But I prepare myself mentally. I breathe in deep, repeatedly, allowing myself to sink into like a borderline meditative state. I let my thoughts wander as I do best to peel back the metaphorical Band-Aid from the gaping wound in my soul. So, at this point, I have probably been doing my very best to hold on to hold that weakened bandage in place. With the responsibilities of life, it's not easy to release the pain freely. Instead, the hurt, the anger, the sadness, they all build up and start pushing and building like broken shards of wood or leaves, debris that pile during a monsoon flash flood. And they just beat against this metaphoric, pathetic branch that's attempting to block the flow. And I know that once that wound is exposed, the pain is just going to gush. It's going to flow. And it's going to feel like I'm drowning in that marshy darkness of post-monsoon floodwaters. So loneliness is necessary at this moment. It's not something that anyone else can save me from. And when I'm sitting there in this zone, I feel it when it happens. When I have sank deep enough into that darkness of thought, the sadness and the hurt, they wash over me completely. And I am propelled into this barrage of tears. It's in these moments that crying is the only thing that I can do. The tears are impossible to stop. They just flow and they encompass my entire psyche. And I sink deeper as my broken soul reaches out into the unknown, trying its hardest to grasp its saddened fingers for the tethers of my companion's severed soul strings. It's like grasping for the end of a broken balloon string against a really windy, blustery day. So now I wrote this next piece shortly after I had this reflective moment regarding Nora. Expressing this experience in written word helped me reflect and process my final goodbye even deeper. Writing this down was therapeutic, borderline poetic. So I'm going to share that account here now with the goal to connect with others and to normalize the pain that is okay to feel. I feel like it's just easier for me to share this next part to help demonstrate what and how I went through in this moment, and how it played out for me to have this farewell ceremony essentially for my Nora. I believe that it captures the goal of this process the most effectively. So this particular encounter starts with all the moments leading up to my processing moment. It's not easy to express, but I hope that it helps even a few people to just have a way to process these moments. So bear with me, and here it goes, my reflection of my farewell to Nora. Saying goodbye. I cried into her fur like I've never cried before as I said my final goodbyes to her earthly vessel, the beautiful feline vessel that tethered her soul earthside. I cried as I apologized for failing her and not finding her soon enough to save her. I cried as I pleaded with her to forgive me for not ensuring that she could stay with me longer. I cried as I kissed the tip of her nose one final sweet time. And I cried as the realization hit me that I would never again see her spirit dancing behind those beautiful green eyes that captured my attention so many times. I cried as I signed the papers, releasing her vessel to be burned. I cried at the pain in choosing which color I wanted her final paw print in. I cried as I rang the bell outside of the morgue, the bell that was to signify that my Nora had received her wings. I cried the whole way home as I cursed myself for losing her too soon. I cried as the days passed, the weight of her loss continuing to grow in my chest. Later that week, I cried, holding her ashes, as I tried my hardest not to spill any of her while I funneled a small portion of her remains into the tiny hole of the urn bracelet that I had purchased. I cried as I struggled to close it with the tiny screwdriver that came along with it, the tears in my eyes making it near impossible. I cried harder than I ever thought my body was capable of. I cried until I felt her around me once more, her soul coming to say its final goodbye. I cried as she hushed me and tried to soothe my pain. I cried as she explained how my pain could help others to heal. She showed me a vision of myself, years down the road, me as the doctor, the veterinarian, consoling and attempting to soothe a family who had lost their precious companion. In this future, my heart was aching at their pain, but I had the ability to eloquently convey a message that helped soothe their souls, a message that would help them process, and a message that would help them heal. I cried, and then I breathed. I processed. I reflected. Then I promised my Nora that I would fulfill this vision, that I would anchor this pain, and that I would use it when needed most. I promised her that I would do my best to patch the gaping hole in my heart, that I would manipulate the hurt into a flow of compassion and empathy. And I promised her that I would use it to help those who will need a reflection of wisdom in their darkest hours. I cried again as her soul expressed her gratitude for my love and for my promise to her. I felt the warmth as she blessed me with one last head roll into my forehead. Our souls hugged and said, "Till next time." At that moment, I saw her soul finally depart this earthly realm. A weight seemingly lifted from my chest. I breathed in deep as I allowed a calm to settle in. I breathed as I recognized my official goodbye. So, thank you for sitting with me through this. And if you've lost a companion's soul, I hope you know that your grief is so valid and that your love mattered. It still matters. And if this video brought you comfort or just helped you feel a little less alone, I'd be honored if you shared it to someone who might need it as well. Or share your story in the comments. I'm here to read them. I'm here to feel and to process with you. And sometimes just speaking it out loud can be the first step towards healing. And just know, you're not alone in this. It's okay to be devastated by this type of loss. So basically, I need that meditative moment. I let my soul reach out to find hers, to connect on that plane, and to just say goodbye. It's crazy to explain how it works. I really can't explain it myself, other than that I think because I allow myself to cry so deeply and to process so deeply, that my soul is hurting so bad in that moment that there's just no other opportunity but that moment for us to connect and say goodbye to each other. And, I do believe in the beauty of souls. I do believe that we have that connection with our companions when we choose to spend our lives together. And because my soul is so connected to each and every one of my companions, I feel like there literally is that metaphorical string that links us together. And when we lose them, it's severed. The broken pieces still remain there for both of us. So when I say, obviously in that moment that I was reaching to find her soul string, I felt like I was so deep into it that she came to me and she was there, and I can't explain it other than like I heard her, I felt her presence, I heard her voice, she was there with me, consoling me, and it was so beautiful. And it was crazy because in that moment of crying and breathing, at one point I was trying so hard to remember a certain song that had struck me years before, that when I listened to it, I was just like, oh my gosh, that song is beautiful. And it made me think of souls and souls departing. And it's that one, Evening Star. And it's beautiful. And in that moment of me processing, I just wanted to hear that song. But for the life of me, I couldn't find it. I couldn't think of the name. I was just so into it that my brain just was not working in the caliber of remembering a song name. So I had just other sad music playing and I launched into it. And then, so after that moment of our goodbyes and her rolling into me and just me feeling her, and then it sounds crazy to say, some of you will get it, some of you won't, and that's totally fine. But when I say that I saw I saw her soul leave. I saw her go to wherever it is that she needed to go, and she departed. She left. I felt all of a sudden that emptiness was just like we said our goodbyes. It was beautiful. It was a moment, and I was relieved from that heaviness that I had been feeling from processing her loss. And obviously there's still some pain. It'll always be there. Again, those strings are severed and mangled and still hanging out in there. But I felt that weight of her soul just, thanks, Mom. I said goodbye. I love you. All the things. But after that moment, all of a sudden, that song came on my Pandora. It was playing in my ears so loud and so beautiful, and I just cried all over again. It played beautifully, and I just was like, thank you, Nora. I have yet to listen to that song again since that moment. But it'll always, I feel like, be that connection of me wanting it so bad and her making me wait for our goodbye, and then her, the universe, just playing it for me in that moment. And it was really after that I was like, okay, I'm okay. And I was okay. I walked out of that shop feeling lighter. I was able to function more efficiently. The next day I was able to go to my day of vet classes and be okay. And I needed that. Again, I had to do the same thing for the previous feline companion that I had lost. Same concept. Headphones, music, cry, process, reflect. I felt him come to me. I felt him say goodbye. I felt his final head roll, his lounging on my lap, and then his soul departed, and it was beautiful, and I was able to process and breathe. So that's what works for me. With tragic deaths, again, with euthanasia, you can say what you need to say, and I feel like their souls are able to leave with your goodbyes and vice versa. But with tragic deaths, I feel like the souls just kind of linger until you can say goodbye. And I need that. And again, it's worked for me. I hope this reflection can help even just someone. If you lost your companion and you don't know what to do, if it was tragic and you feel the heaviness of an unsaid goodbye, find some quiet time, put on some music, zone out, breathe, meditate. Allow your soul to reach as far as you have to find your companion soul out there. Pull them back in for even just a second, and just say what you need to say. Let them say what they need to say. Maybe process a reflection on what you learned from their death, what you're going to do differently. Food bins. Never again. And then just move forward and do your best to function. So I hope this helps, and yeah. And to my Nora, thank you for loving me the way that you did. Until next time.